It was a big night for the Democrats, who did much better than expected. Climate hawks gather around to read the tea leaves about what happened in the U.S. national elections. This year's climate campaign trail for Democrats was a lot different from previous years thanks to the recent passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. For once, Democrats had a concrete climate success to campaign on during the midterms, and the results point to an interesting if not groundbreaking political future. Their Democratic opponents defeated some of the most worrisome climate deniers. Some other incumbent deniers like Rep. Lauren Boebert in Colorado are in races that were still too close to call as of Thursday morning. This is also the first election I can remember in which the goalposts on politicians' perspectives on climate science seem to have moved. For years, the calling card for Democrats has been for voters to elect politicians who believe in science. Climate hawks need to figure out a way to combat this new line of reasoning. Despite promising signs for climate action, this year really hit home the futility of trying to separate climate action from the overall political conversation as some sort of nonpartisan issue. The 2022 U.S. midterm election results strayed from the pattern of almost every midterm since World War II, which normally shrinks the footprint of the party in power in both chambers of Congress. Republicans made modest gains, but Democrats performed better than expected as control of the Senate hinged on three races that remained too close to call on Wednesday morning. Democratic Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers narrowly won re-election defending his seat. Democratic Maine Governor Janet Mills won a second term running on a platform that emphasized healthcare, especially her support for abortion rights. Newly elected Pennsylvania Democrat Josh Shapiro will have the power to block or advance efforts by the Republican-led state legislature to severely restrict abortions. The dollar advanced against most major currencies on Wednesday as results so far for the U.S. midterm elections showed little evidence of a red wave resounding Republican victory that some expected. Republicans made modest gains in the midterms, but Democrats performed better than expected as control of the Senate hinged on three races that remained too close to call. The dollar was supported by a bout of risk aversion ahead of Thursday's inflation report and a second day of weakness in cryptocurrencies. Russian politicians savored preliminary U.S. midterm election results which they cast as a humiliating and overdue blow to Democratic President Joe Biden, but the Kremlin said it expects no improvement in battered U.S.-Russia ties. Social media users are sharing a claim that President Joe Biden announced a plan to cheat on the U.S. midterms by dumping ballots in a November 2, 2022 speech. However, Biden does not mention ballot dumping or cheating in his remarks on democracy and midterm elections. Nancy Pelosi's trips to Taiwan and Armenia ended in the loss of the Speaker's chair. Biden said in a speech on November 2 that, "It takes time to count all legitimate ballots in a legal and orderly manner," in which he noted that, more and more ballots are cast in early voting or by mail in America. In states like Michigan, for example, in-person votes were counted first and mail-in ballots were counted next, which explained the shift from Trump to Biden. The order in which these batches are counted can affect the direction a count may spike toward something explained in more depth in a Reuters explainer from 2020 here. The party of the sitting president has lost seats in the U.S. House of Representatives in all but two midterms since 1946. Democrats may have had the best midterm a president's party has experienced in 20 years. Joe Biden did not announce a plan to cheat or dump ballots during the U.S. midterm elections. It's unclear whether Congress will even manage to raise the debt ceiling again if Democrats don't figure out a way to settle the issue and avert a crisis that's been gestating for over a decade now. Before January, political science and political history suggest there was little Democrats might have done to fully avoid that possibility. The rate of inflation, the subject of most of the last year's punditry and predictions, is poorly correlated with midterm outcomes. The Democrats' shocking overperformance amounts to a shocking underperformance on the Republicans' part, suggesting that the electorate was more troubled by other anxieties that hurt the right, including worries about reproductive freedom. In the aftermath of the Dobbs decision, voters in Kansas surprised many by rejecting an abortion ban.